What the hell is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Hot Mess Espresso. We're taking it back a little bit. In season one, obviously, I started off doing solo episodes and educating on borderline, all of the things. And in doing that, and to get this podcast to grow, I was bringing on guests, and I still love doing that. I love interacting with people and just talking all things mental health. But last season, I felt like I was kind of losing my purpose a little bit, that I wasn't as like I was sticking to what I truly believed in, which is mental health, obviously, but I just didn't feel like I felt like I was kind of moving away from why I started this podcast and why I do what I do daily. So there's a few changes that I'm kind of making to season 4, which is the current season we're in. This would be the second episode. This was supposed to be the first episode, but I also deal with mental health issues, so that kind of had to take a back seat while I got my shit together. So buckle up because we're going to go for a little life update, and we're going to talk about the different things that we have going on for season 4. And also we're going to go back to talking about borderline and all that good stuff in air quotes, because nothing about borderline is all that great. Let's be honest here. So first order of business. What we'll be doing for season 4 is we're kind of doing a little bit of a hybrid thing, and this is going to be for seasons going forward. There won't be like a 50-50 split of who is getting into what right now. Okay, in true fashion, somebody's causing chaos over there, and then my light moved. It's fine. Everything is fine. But anyways, so I'm not quite doing like a 50-50 hybrid of Hot Mess Espresso when it comes to guests versus solo. I'm going to be doing more solo because obviously in season 3, this last season, there was nothing for solo episodes, and I didn't love that. I love how much traction the podcast has gotten. I absolutely adore every single person that was on season 3, and I will continue to have people on, but you will be seeing me and my little self on way more often. Well, at least like 3 or 4 episodes a season. Also, we're doing longer seasons now. Season 3 kind of ended with 8. That was a personal decision based off of the fact that I kind of actually from Kevin, who was on season 3, he just kind of looked at me and he was like, you just need to do video. It doesn't need to be a perfect camera. It doesn't, just do video. So I immediately, the episode after his, which happens to be Hunter's episode that was recorded back in December, everything's been video since then. So I just kept that momentum, wrapped up whatever just audio I had going on. And if you're on Apple or another platform listening to this, and obviously it's not video, that's because video is Spotify. I'm currently working on getting the YouTube up with that, but I am not techie. So if you are techie, like, slide my DMs and help a girl out, just saying. Anyways, so I will be on more and we will be talking more. And I know a lot of you that don't follow me on TikTok or follow my Instagram or anything like that want life updates. And that being said, here are a couple. Bought a house, finally. Like, we are just about closed, and I could not be more relieved because I honestly have hated this entire process. It is incredibly stressful. I am over it. But hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Also, for those of you that don't know, and I'm looking at them right now, Stella, my soul cat that passed away October of 2022, decided to send me another one in the most unconventional way possible. It was actually a really one of my closest friends got a job that made it kind of impossible to have any kind of animal just because of the amount of time that they're gone. So I got a call, asked if I could take him, and my unhinged ass flew to Texas to get this cat. For those of you that know me, nobody's remotely surprised. For those of you that don't know me, this is normal for me. You know, at least this time I'm not flying out to like Colorado to spend a month with a man I met once, you know, like it's balance. Okay. We're doing the balance thing. So, trying to think of any more life updates. Oh yeah. I'm going to a podcast conference in Austin, Texas, in a couple of months. I'm very excited about that. It's with a dream studio that I would love to have Hot Mess Espresso under one day. So I cannot wait to show you guys all of the cool things that come with that, the connections I'll be making, the networking I'll be doing. If I have my way, Hot Mess Espresso will be under them in 5 years. Like, we're going to make this happen. So I'm very excited. I will obviously have an entire episode talking about all of the things on there and my trip out there and all of that stuff. So that will be featured at the end of the season, which is crazy to me because this comes and goes so quick, so freaking quick. And then also, I have a little tattoo challenge. So we all know I love tattoos and I look for any excuse to get tattooed. But if I hit 250 followers on Spotify, I'm getting my logo tattooed on my arm. So definitely hit that follow button if you're on Spotify. And let's see how fast we can get this done. The 1 year anniversary of Hot Mess Espresso is the end of May. So it would be really, really cool if we managed to make that happen. I believe we're about 130 followers away. So it's kind of a tough call, but it's doable. So let's see if we can get this done. But all in all, things are moving in a decent direction. Mentally, I'm pretty fucking exhausted. It's not just the podcast, it's everything kind of going on. There's some things in my personal life that I'm not quite ready to like super publicly speak about, but that's all kind of a process that I'm doing my best to work through. And obviously, like, my therapist is never allowed to retire because I don't know what I'm going to do without them. Because every time I think things are like chill, something happens in my life that I'm just like, so remember how we were going and checking in like once a month? Yeah, I'm going to have to go back to like my weekly because my life is in shambles again. So I think the biggest takeaway that I'm trying to focus on lately is my career and this podcast and just bringing you guys the absolute best material that I can with guests and everything like that. And sometimes it gets to be a bit exhausting, but for me, it's worth it. So, and I'm ADHDing hard because I had a whole like monologue planned out and my brain was just like, you know what? We're going to remember none of this. So, I'm sure I'll get into it more as time goes on, but since we're trying to get back into chit-chatting more about borderline, something that I didn't realize was a thing until I was kind of looking more into borderline treatments and stuff like that, just to kind of stay up to date on things, because obviously I'm not crazy in the like throes of borderline treatment. I've been bumped down and that's great, but at the same time, I still want to educate. So there are apparently 4 different types of borderline. There is discouraged borderline, impulsive borderline, petulant borderline, and self-destructive borderline. And I'm just going to go right into it. And like, I did my research on it and I'm just using my phone for the notes because my theater days of memorizing 1,000 lines is very over. I would like to know where that brain went, but just gonna read for you guys. So discouraged BPD is also referred to as quiet BPD. They're usually afraid of abandonment. They'll take extreme actions to prevent imagined and real abandonment. Compared to other types of BPD, people with discouraged keep their emotions hidden. It's also been observed that they like blaming themselves instead of others. If you feel called out, so do I. People with discouraged BPD may be perfectionists, be high functioning, be very successful, feel like they lack strong bonds with others, feel alienated and detached in social groups. They'll engage in self-harm, engage in suicidal behavior. They'll seek approval, but they'll also self-isolate. And then they feel lonely and empty most of the time. And common signs and symptoms of discouraged borderline include, but are not limited to, neediness, clinginess, anger, emotional mood swings, and codependency. And then there's impulsive borderline. And I think it's important to point out that there are 4 different types because what one person goes through with borderline is not going to, it's not a one size fits all. Everybody has different traumas. Everybody has different triggers. Everybody has different everything. So it's important to have these categories because that may help with better treatment options. So number 2, which is impulsive, people with impulsive BPD may appear, one, it's impulsive behavior is one of the primary symptoms of borderline personality disorder, which we've talked about. People with, or I guess I've talked about, people with BPD tend to act in impulsive and dangerous ways. More often than not, they behave this way without regard for other people or possible consequences. So people with impulsive BPD may appear energetic, charismatic, detached or elusive, motivating or engaging, and flirtatious. Oh my God, I can't talk today. This is what happens when I'm recording this at like 9 o'clock at night after doing 3 full-blown episodes. Could I have better planned this? Yes. Will I learn from this? No. But I digress. So examples of impulsive behaviors include, but are not limited to, aggressive behaviors, so physical fights, outbursts, hitting things, breaking things, yelling fits, binging behaviors, overspending, binge eating, and binge watching, self-destructive and risky behavior, which is like driving under the influence, sex with multiple partners, unprotected sex, gambling, doing illicit drugs, and excessive consumption of alcohol. And then there is petulant borderline. And this type of borderline may appear angry one moment and sulky or sad the next. They swing unpredictably between emotions. They may also feel unloved or unworthy, which can obviously lead to unhealthy desire for control and relationship changes. People with petulant also can be very manipulative. They often feel dissatisfied in their relationships, and it's easier for them to resort to substance abuse and other dangerous behaviors. And then last but not least, obviously, there's self-destructive borderline. And those with self-destructive BPD battle with self-hatred and often feel bitter about it. Examples of behavioral traits found in people with this type of borderline include self-harm behaviors. This may include burning, cutting, hitting, and scratching, substance abuse, prescription and recreational, risky adrenaline-seeking activities. People with self-destructive BPD engage in such activities without preparing them in advance, and threats of suicide. Symptoms of self-destructive borderline are similar to those of other categories, but additional symptoms that do help set it apart: a decrease in the desire to sleep, an increase in energy, and feelings of euphoria. But I should note, these can also be signs of a manic episode or bipolar disorder. So obviously, and don't like take this and go, oh, I'm XYZ. Talk to a therapist, because that is the thing, especially with borderline, it can mask as other shit. So talk to someone, a licensed professional. And I've said this a few times, but I'll say it again. If you are getting diagnosed with borderline in the first few, especially the first, but even in the first few sessions, get another therapist, because borderline can seem like ADHD. It can seem like bipolar. It takes a while to get that diagnosis. So just keep that in mind. And I'm sure all of you are like, well, Heather, which one were you? And I'd probably say the one I most felt like called out on was absolutely the discouraged. I have a really hard time like connecting. I don't have as hard of a time connecting with people now, but I know I did. I've always kind of felt like the outside friend, or that like my friends don't necessarily like they keep me around because they do like me, but I'm not the first choice. And I think in that is a lot of the discouraged BPD. So, and this was obviously like in my early 20s before I got diagnosed and got treatment and all of that. But I feel like I had kind of a smattering of all four. I couldn't tell you off the bat what one I was definitely, but I really felt when I was reading up on all of this that the discouraged BPD was 1,000% me, like blaming myself instead of other people for literally everything. If my friends were pulling away, it was because I was clearly a terrible fucking person and I didn't deserve to have friends. And, just always kind of feeling like the backup friend, or the person that people called when they needed something but didn't actually like actively want me around. So, and I've kind of struggled with that even into my 30s a little bit, even with treatment, because again, you can get treatment and not everything just goes away. So that's also something to keep in mind when we're talking about treatment and stuff like that. But um, I I cannot wait for you guys to see the rest of season 4, and I can't wait to check in with you guys and just keep educating on this. So drop in the comments or shoot me a message what things about borderline you want to know, or if there's something from season 1 where we were kind of going over everything, how if there's something you want me to go more in depth about. And again, I'm an open book, so if it's not going to harm other people with what I'm saying, I am totally fine talking about it. So drop it in the comments, but I cannot wait to check in with you guys again. Again, thank you. I cannot believe we're in season 4. The support I've been getting from everyone is just, it's mind blowing. It really is mind blowing. And it's been such an incredible journey. It's been a lot at times, unpacking and revisiting a lot of things, but hearing that people are sending my episodes to family and friends and saying like, hey, this is what I've been trying to say forever, but I did not know how to say it, that makes all of this worth it. So I cannot wait to check in with you guys again in a few episodes. Stay safe. I love you all. Hot mess out.